All right. So I've been watching a bunch of reloading videos online and looking at some of the reloading forums, and it seems like everyone has this big dedicated workshop or car hole with like thousands of dollars worth of equipment, a bunch of mounted presses on the wall, and just a bunch of crap you don't really recognize. And I think it does make it look a little intimidating to get into the reloading world. I just wanted to make a video to let people know you don't need all that stuff to get started in reloading. I don't have a dedicated workbench for reloading, and all you really need is a desk or table or any sort of flat surface where you can keep a few things organized on. And when you're done, you can just take all that stuff, throw it in a duffel bag, and store it in the corner of your closet or something when you're not reloading. This is where Mr. Lee comes in. I got started when reloading with 44 Magnum. Right now, it seems like ammo is around 75 cents per round, but it's hard to find exactly what you're looking for. And back in 2001, when I really wanted to get into 44 Magnum, prices were around $1 per round, and that was just out of the question. Then I thought, what if I spend a bunch more money on reloading equipment to make my own ammo for cheap? That'll save me money, right? Well, yes and no. I mean, you do save money per round, not so much on like cheap 9mm, which is like a few cents per round, but with 44 mag, I'm saving like 30 cents per round. Basically, any caliber that costs more than 50 cents per round, you do see some decent savings on it. The problem is you just end up shooting more and you fall into this reloading rabbit hole and start spending money on equipment, but the thing is you can get started for cheap. But just like any hobby, you can end up spending a whole bunch more money on it than you need to. And the other reason to get into reloading is making specific ammo that you want to shoot. And with 44 Magnum, you can make weak cartridges that feel more like 44 Special or crazy hot 44 Magnum that'll give you early arthritis. It's awesome. The Lee kit I bought years ago is no longer in production. It looks like the current kit comes with a 3-die set of either 9mm, 45 ACP, 223 Remington, or 357 Magnum. I think this press really shines with revolver cartridges or bolt action reloading. The hand press is significantly slower than a turret press or a single stage press, but you're not normally mag dumping 100 rounds of 357 Magnum or 30-06 in one range session. But on the other hand, with 9mm, you can easily blow through 100 rounds. Now, you can totally start with semi-auto reloading on this press, it's just maybe not the most efficient. So if you want to start reloading any of the calibers in the new kit, go with the new kit. However, it does seem like the old kit is still available on eBay. If you want to load something like 44 Magnum or another caliber you see, you can just go with the old kit. The old kit also does come with a couple things that you need and is a little bit cheaper. So again, if you're not interested in any of the calibers the new kit offers, I'd say just go with the old kit. I'll put up a slide at the end that goes over what you need for reloading, say, 357 Magnum with the new kit or 44 Magnum with the old kit. So the new kit comes with this nice storage case. I actually bought this later because it's much better than having all the individual components rattling around in a box, which is how I previously had it. It comes with the Lee Ram Prime Kit. You use this to prime the brass on the press. Comes with a sample of case lube. The old kit actually comes with a full tube of case lube. It comes with a 3-die set for pistol cartridges. Now, for new reloaders, Lee pistol dies come as either 3-die sets or 4-die sets. The 3-die sets have a Lee factory crimp die, which gives you a nice crimp on revolver cartridges. It has a carbide sizing ring to even out any inconsistencies with your rounds. This is more helpful with like plain lead rounds, and you don't really need it for semi-automatic pistol rounds. And the thing is, you can always end up buying it separately for about 25 bucks. The kit also comes with a lock ring wrench. I really like the lock rings that come with the Lee breech lock kits. You put the bushing in the press, tighten it, and then you screw the die into the press, and then just lock it with the Allen wrench. And it locks it in. It's really good for changing dies in and out very quickly. You're going to need a few other things that don't come with the kit, and this is universal for both rifle and pistol cartridges. I'll add a few things at the end for rifle reloading. So first, you'll need a funnel. I think the old kit actually has one, but I can't remember if I bought this or not. Either way, it's like $3 for a funnel. You'll need some more case lube if you get the new kit. FYI, this cheap tube of Lee case lube will last you years and thousands of rounds. You'll need some sort of powder scale. You can either get an old school like beam scale or a cheap little Amazon scale. These little electronic scales kind of suck. They drift. Some of them are really inconsistent. It seems pretty much just the luck of the draw whether or not you get a good one or not. And the same scales you see other reloaders on YouTube use are often discontinued or just rebranded Chinese scales. It's really hard to actually make a good recommendation on these. You also need a nice set of calipers for taking measurements. I would just note Project Farm has a nice video that shows you don't really need to spend a lot of money to get a good set of calipers. You'll also need some sort of reloading manual. There's a lot of reloading data online. The Hodgdon Reloading Data Center is a massive online database, and both Nosler and Speer have their load data on their websites. Extreme Plated Bullets also has a limited reloading manual on their website, which can be useful for plated bullets. You really should get a reloading manual, as it goes through everything you need to know, from how to resize cases to how to store primers safely. I don't think it really matters which one you get. I would just note the Lee book mostly just has online data aggregated from other online sources, but the first few chapters do a pretty good job of going over the reloading process. The Lyman uses their own data, and they have two different books, one general purpose reloading one like this, and then another cast bullet one, which don't worry about that one. That's only really useful for like cast lead reloading. They're all pretty good. I kind of think the Hornady book might be a good starting point, as Hornady bullets are some of the most widely available bullets around, and they tend to be a little bit cheaper, and they also use their own proprietary reload data. Now, for rifle reloading, you need some sort of chamfer and deburring tool. This chamfer is the inside of the case mouth just to allow bullets to get in easier. You need some way to trim your brass with rifle reloading. I think the Lee cartridge-specific case trimmer is a good starting point if you're only planning on reloading a few different cartridges. And lastly, if you don't have a dedicated reloading space, I think you absolutely need some sort of lead removing wipes just to kind of clean up after yourself once you're done reloading. Then for cartridge components, you either need some new brass or some once fired brass. I've actually cleaned mine. You don't have to, but it does make it easier to spot defects and make it a little bit safer to handle lead-wise. There's a ton of different ways to clean brass, all the way from expensive wet tumblers down to just, throwing them in an ice cream bucket full of soapy water and agitating them a little bit. And you will need, of course, some bullets to put in those cases. Those are some Berry's plated 44 Magnum bullets. And lastly, you'll need some smokeless powder and some primers. But these are a little bit trickier to get. Depending on your local laws, most of the stuff at this point you can get from online retailers like Midway or Mid-South Shooters, Natchez, etc., etc. But powder and primers incur a hazmat fee and jacks the price up quite a bit. When you're just getting started, these items are going to be way easier to get from a local gun store or a big retailer like Bass Pro or Shields. A lot of the online sites do have no hazmat fee days a few times a year, so you can also look for those. But again, it just depends on your local laws if they're allowed to ship, primers or smokeless powder. This is a sleeve of 100 primers. Most primers come as boxes of 1,000 and are quite a bit more expensive. But, if a lot of big box stores allow you to buy single sleeves of 100 primers, so that's a good way of getting started. And then as far as smokeless powder goes, most of them come in 8-pound or 1-pound jugs. Again, if you're just getting started, go for a 1-pound jug like this. So I'm not going to go over the whole reloading process. There's a ton of videos online, and there should be information in your reloading manual, and there's also directions in your reloading dies on how to use them. Even if you end up enjoying reloading and upgrade to a nice single stage press or turret press in the future, I think you'll still find use for this hand press. I actually still use it for removing primers from spent cases using a universal decapping die. Since it's mobile, I can just sit in front of the TV with a bucket of fired brass on one side and an empty bucket on the other and just remove primers while I'm watching TV. You don't really want to be distracted during the other parts of the reloading process, but just punching primers out of spent cases is a really mindless process. Also, if I want to just load up 5 test rounds and don't want to get all my equipment out, it's nice to just use this press. So that's pretty much it. Now, I'm sure I forgot something, but anything I forgot is something minor that usually doesn't cost very much. I just wanted to show you just need a desk or table and a backpack with some reloading equipment in it to get started in this absolute, black hole of a hobby. I really enjoy the zen of reloading and just wanted to pass on the good word and let people know it doesn't have to be that intimidating to get into. Anyways, see ya.